The smell of burnt coffee and rain-soaked concrete has become my morning anthem here in Seattle. I'm Eli Ramirez, 22, and in 3 days I'll walk across that stage at the University of Washington with a diploma that cost me 4 years of sleep and more late-night shifts than I care to count. My apartment is a shoebox on the edge of Capitol Hill, where the rent is just barely manageable, and the neighbors downstairs seem to think 6 a.m. is the perfect time to practice their interpretive dance routine. Finals are behind me now, thank God. Last week I turned in my final paper on labor economics, while my eyelids felt like sandpaper, fueled by nothing but determination and the cheapest energy drinks the corner store had to offer. I've been working at Grind Coffee since sophomore year, pulling the closing shift most nights because it pays an extra $1 an hour, and every dollar matters when you're determined not to lean on your father's money. Victor Ramirez might be climbing the corporate ladder in his pressed suits and polished shoes, but I've made it this far on my own terms. Before we jump back in, tell us where you're tuning in from, and if this story touches you, make sure you're subscribed, because tomorrow I've saved something extra special for you. The irony isn't lost on me that I'm graduating with a degree in economics while living paycheck to paycheck, but there's something honest about it, something real. While my classmates stressed about internships at their parents' friends' companies, I was learning about supply and demand from the ground up, watching how a 50-cent tip could make or break someone's day. My phone buzzes with an email from the graduation committee. "Congratulations, Mr. Ramirez. Your speaking slot has been confirmed for Friday's ceremony. Please arrive 30 minutes early for sound check." I read it twice, still not quite believing it. Professor Westbrook nominated me for the Student Speaker Award, said something about my essay on economic mobility, resonating with the selection committee. Funny how life works. All those nights writing papers by the light of my phone because the electricity got cut off, and now I get to stand up there and talk about perseverance. But there's only one person I really want in that audience. Grandma Inez, who raised me while my parents chased their careers, who still slips me $20 bills when she thinks I'm not looking, who calls me her little scholar even though I tower over her now. She's the one who taught me that dignity isn't about what you wear or where you live. It's about how you treat people, and whether you sleep well at night knowing you've done right by those who love you. I close my laptop and grab my jacket. Time to call home and talk about seating arrangements. 3 days until I graduate, and the only person whose opinion really matters to me is a 74-year-old woman who lives above a laundromat and still darns her own socks. I can't wait to see her face when they call my name. I dial my parents' number while pacing around my cramped kitchen, stepping over the stack of textbooks I still haven't figured out what to do with. The phone rings twice before my father's voice cuts through, sharp and businesslike as always. "Eli, I was expecting your call." "Hey, Dad. Just wanted to talk about Friday's seating. I know you and Mom got the VIP section tickets, but I was hoping we could arrange something for Grandma Inez. Maybe she could sit with you guys or—" "Stop right there." Victor's tone shifts, and I can practically see him straightening his tie even though it's a phone call. "Your grandmother will not be attending." I laugh, thinking he's making some kind of joke. "What do you mean? Of course she's coming. She's been talking about it for months. She even bought a new dress." "I mean exactly what I said, Eli. Inez is not welcome at your graduation ceremony." The words hit me like cold water. I stop pacing, gripping the phone tighter. "You can't be serious." "I'm completely serious. This is an important day for our family's reputation. There will be photography, networking opportunities, people from my company in attendance. Your grandmother." He pauses, and I can hear him choosing his words carefully. She doesn't understand how to present herself appropriately for these kinds of events. Present herself? "Dad, she's 74 years old. She raised me while you were working 60-hour weeks. She's the reason I made it through college." "She's embarrassing, Eli." The words come out flat, final. Those loud floral dresses, the way she talks about money troubles, those stories about the old neighborhood. Do you have any idea what kind of impression that makes? I've worked too hard to build our family's standing to have it undermined by what? By the woman who actually showed up when I needed someone? I can hear my mother's voice in the background, soft and worried, but I can't make out the words. Victor's voice hardens further. This is not negotiable. If you want our support, if you want us there, then Enos stays home. End of discussion. My hand is shaking now, anger rising in my chest like steam. Support? What support? I paid my own way through school. I worked every night while you were at your networking dinners. I didn't ask for your money because I knew it came with strings attached, but I never thought you'd try to erase the person who actually helped me get here. Don't be dramatic. This is about maintaining standards, about... I hang up. The silence in my apartment feels deafening. I stare at my phone, replaying the conversation, hoping I misunderstood something. But Victor's words echo clearly. Embarrassing, inappropriate, not welcome. I think about Grandma Inez in her tiny apartment, probably already planning what she'll wear, what she'll say when she sees me in my cap and gown. How do I tell her she's not invited to the proudest moment of my life? The narrow staircase leading to Grandma Inez's apartment creaks under my feet, each step heavier than the last. Below, the washing machines hum their eternal rhythm, and the scent of fabric softener mingles with the smell of her homemade tortillas drifting from under her door. I pause at the top of the stairs, my hand hovering over the doorknob, still not sure how I'm going to say what needs to be said. Mijo, is that you lurking out there like a burglar? Her voice carries through the thin door, warm with laughter. Come in before Mrs. Chen thinks you're casing the joint. I push open the door to find her sitting cross-legged on the floor beside her ancient sewing machine and neighbor's navy blue skirt spread across her lap. The apartment is exactly as I remember from childhood, crowded but cozy, every surface covered with treasures from garage sales and thrift stores, mismatched throw pillows, ceramic cats that serve no purpose except to make her smile, and photographs of our family covering every available inch of the walls. There's my college boy, she says, looking up from her hemming with those dark eyes that always seem to see right through me. You look terrible. When's the last time you ate something that didn't come from a vending machine? The kettle on her tiny stove whistles insistently, and she starts to get up, but I motion for her to stay put. I'll get it, Grandma. You keep working. I pour the hot water over 2 tea bags in chipped mugs that read World's Greatest Grandma and Seattle, Rain or Shine. The familiar ritual of making tea in her kitchen usually calms me, but today my hands shake as I carry the steaming cups to where she sits. So she says, accepting her mug and studying my face. What's eating at you? And don't tell me it's nothing. I've been reading your mood since you were in diapers. I settle onto the floor beside her, cradling my tea and trying to find words that won't break her heart. It's about graduation, Grandma. Her face lights up instantly. Oh, I almost forgot to show you. She sets down her mug and scrambles to her feet with surprising agility, disappearing into her bedroom. She returns with a dress bag hanging from her arm, unzipping it with the excitement of a child on Christmas morning. I found this at the Goodwill on Pine Street, she says, holding up a royal blue dress with tiny white flowers. $25, can you believe it? It's perfect for watching my grandson graduate from college. The pride in her voice hits me like a physical blow. I watch her smooth the fabric with weathered hands, hands that packed my school lunches and braided my hair, and held me when I cried about kids at school making fun of my secondhand clothes. Grandma, I start, my voice barely above a whisper, we need to talk. Something in my tone makes her still. The dress falls to her lap as she turns to face me fully, those knowing eyes searching mine. What is it, Mijo? What's wrong? The rain pounds against Mark's kitchen window like it's personally offended by the world, which pretty much matches my mood as I slump over his tiny table with my 3rd cup of coffee. It's past midnight, but neither of us seems ready for sleep. Mark Chen has been my best friend since freshman year, when we bonded over instant ramen and the shared experience of checking our bank balances before buying textbooks. So let me get this straight, Mark says, leaning back in his creaky chair. Your dad basically told you that the woman who raised you isn't good enough to watch you graduate because she might embarrass his corporate image? I nod, staring into my coffee like it holds answers. And the worst part is how she took it. She just smiled, Mark. She said she didn't want to ruin my big day, that she'd watch online if someone could help her figure out the live stream. That's some next-level class right there, Mark mutters, shaking his head. Meanwhile, your dad's worried about what his golf buddies might think if they see someone wearing a $25 dress. The memory of leaving Grandma Inez's apartment still stings. After I finally managed to explain Victor's ultimatum, she'd hugged me tight and told me not to worry about her, but I caught the way her shoulders sagged when she thought I wasn't looking. How she carefully hung that blue dress back in the closet like she was putting away a dream. You know what really gets me? I say, running my hands through my hair. He acts like he built this perfect family image all by himself. But where was he when I was 8 and had pneumonia? Grandma Inez was the one sleeping on the floor next to my bed. Where was he when I couldn't afford my textbook sophomore year? She was slipping me grocery money so I could eat and study. Telling and preparing this story took us a lot of time, so if you are enjoying it, subscribe to our channel. It means a lot to us. Now back to the story. Mark leans forward, his expression serious. Okay, but here's the thing, Eli. You're the one graduating, not your dad. This is your moment, your achievement. Why does he get to decide who celebrates with you? Something in his tone makes me look up. What are you saying? I'm saying maybe there's another way to handle this. Mark gets up and starts pacing around his small kitchen, the way he always does when he's thinking. You're giving a speech, right? At the ceremony? Yeah, but nothing. You've got a microphone and a captive audience. What if you found a way to include her without needing anyone's permission? I feel a spark of something that might be hope. You mean mention her in the speech? I mean more than mention her. I mean make it impossible for anyone to ignore the person who actually got you to that podium. Mark stops pacing and grins at me, the kind of mischievous smile that got us both in trouble during our dorm days. Think about it. Your dad can control the guest list, but he can't control what you say up there. I pause, considering the implications. That's completely insane. Sometimes insane is exactly what the situation calls for. Mark sits back down and looks me straight in the eye. The question is, are you brave enough to do it? Outside, the rain continues its relentless drumming, but something inside me starts to shift. Maybe Mark's right. Maybe it's time to stop asking for permission and start taking control of my own story. Professor Dana Westbrook's office feels like a sanctuary compared to the chaos in my head. Books line every wall from floor to ceiling, and her desk is covered with stacks of papers that somehow manage to look organized despite their apparent randomness. She's the kind of professor who remembers not just your name but your story, the one who noticed when I started falling asleep in her econometrics class, because I'd been pulling double shifts at the coffee shop. Eli, come in, she says, gesturing to the worn leather chair across from her desk. I wanted to go over your graduation speech one more time before Friday. I settle into the chair, pulling out my laptop with the draft I've been wrestling with for weeks. It's safe, generic, something about perseverance and the value of education, the kind of speech that could apply to anyone, anywhere. Professor Westbrook adjusts her reading glasses and scans through my words, nodding occasionally. After a few minutes, she looks up with that expression I've learned to recognize, the one that means she's about to challenge me to dig deeper. This is well written, Eli, technically sound, appropriate for the occasion. She pauses, tapping her pen against the desk. But it feels like you're holding back. Where's the real story? Where's the heart of why you're standing at that podium? I shift uncomfortably in my chair. It covers the important points. Hard work, determination, making the most of opportunities. Those are themes, not truths. She leans forward, her voice gentle but insistent. You mentioned family support in passing, but it reads like something from a greeting card. Tell me, who really helped you get here? The question hangs in the air between us. I think about my prepared answer, the one that would keep the peace, that would fit Victor's narrative of a successful, supportive family. But Professor Westbrook has always been able to see through the polished exterior to the real person underneath. My grandmother, I say quietly, Grandma Inez, she's the one who actually raised me, who believed in me when I wasn't sure college was even possible. There it is. Professor Westbrook smiles. The kind of smile that says she knew this truth was hiding somewhere beneath my careful words. That's your story, Eli. Not some abstract concept about perseverance, but the specific love and sacrifice that got you to this moment. But I can't. I start, then catch myself. It's complicated. Family politics. She studies me for a long moment, and I have the uncomfortable feeling that she can read the entire situation in my expression. Professor Westbrook has been in academia long enough to recognize the tension between authentic truth and manufactured image. You know, Eli, I've been to a lot of graduation ceremonies. I've heard hundreds of speeches. The ones people remember, the ones that actually matter, aren't the ones that play it safe. She closes my laptop gently. They're the ones where someone has the courage to stand up and honor the people who truly shaped them, regardless of what anyone else thinks is appropriate. The weight of her words settles over me like a challenge. She's not telling me what to do, but she's giving me permission to do what feels right. Then that's my story to tell, I say, surprising myself with the certainty in my voice. Sophia's house feels like a museum compared to Grandma Inez's cozy chaos. Everything perfectly arranged, not a throw pillow out of place. It's the monthly family dinner that Victor insists on, the kind of gathering that looks warm and loving from the outside but feels like a performance where everyone knows their lines. I'm helping my 10-year-old cousin Mateo with his math homework at the dining room table, while the adults make polite conversation in the living room. Carry the two, remember? I say, pointing to his long division problem. You're doing great, buddy. Mateo grins up at me, his gap-toothed smile genuine in a way that makes my chest tight. He's Uncle Carlos's kid, the one person in our extended family who still sees Victor as the successful big brother rather than the controlling patriarch. Mateo thinks I'm some kind of superhero just because I made it through college. Eli, are you nervous about graduation? He asks, abandoning his pencil to give me his full attention. I would be so scared to talk in front of all those people. A little nervous, I admit, but mostly excited. It's been a long time coming. Is Grandma Inez going to sit in the front row? She told me she's going to cheer so loud that everyone will know she's your biggest fan. Mateo bounces in his chair with excitement. She already practiced her cheering voice when I was at her house last weekend. The innocent question hits me like a punch to the gut. I glance toward the living room, where Victor is holding court about some business deal, his voice carrying that tone of authority that makes everyone else nod along. Sophia catches my eye from the kitchen doorway, and something in her expression tells me she knows exactly what's going through my mind. Actually, buddy, I say, trying to keep my voice steady, Grandma Inez won't be able to make it to the ceremony. Mateo's face falls immediately. Why not? Is she sick? No, she's not sick, it's just… I fumble for words that might make sense to a 10-year-old. Sometimes grown-ups make decisions about events that don't always include everyone we want there. But that's stupid, Mateo says with the brutal honesty that only children possess. She's the one who helps you with everything. Remember when you were studying for that big test and she made you those special cookies? And she's always talking about how proud she is that you're the first one in the family to graduate college. Each word is like a knife twist. I know, Mateo, I know. Can't you just tell whoever decided that they're wrong, that Grandma Inez should definitely be there because she loves you the most? From the living room, I hear Victor's laugh, polished and professional, as he tells someone about his son, the college graduate. The irony is suffocating. He's already claiming credit for my success, while simultaneously erasing the person who actually made it possible. It's not that simple, I tell Mateo, but even as I say it, I realize how hollow the words sound. Why not? Mateo asks, his dark eyes wide with confusion. If something's wrong, shouldn't you fix it? Before I can answer, Victor appears in the doorway, his gaze sharp as it moves between Mateo and me. Everything okay over here? Mateo, you should finish your homework so the adults can talk. But Mateo's question echoes in my head long after he's been shuffled off to watch TV. If something's wrong, shouldn't you fix it? Maybe it really is that simple. For the first time in weeks, Seattle wakes up under actual sunlight instead of its usual blanket of gray clouds. I take it as a good omen as I stand in front of my bathroom mirror, adjusting my cap and gown. The tassel hangs to the right side. In a few hours, I'll move it to the left and officially become a college graduate. The thought still feels surreal. My phone buzzes with a text from Mark. Ready to make some history today? I type back, ready as I'll ever be. The revised speech is folded carefully in my jacket pocket, every word memorized after staying up until 3 a.m. perfecting it. It's nothing like the safe, generic version I originally wrote. This one has teeth, this one has heart. This one is going to change everything. I dial Grandma Ines' number, needing to hear her voice before I step into the storm I'm about to create. "Me, Joe," she answers on the second ring, her voice bright despite the early hour. "Today's the big day. Are you ready to make your old grandma proud?" "I've been making you proud for years, Grandma. Today I'm just making it official." I close my eyes, gathering courage for what comes next. "Listen, I need you to keep your phone close today, okay? And maybe have it ready to answer video calls." There's a pause. "Video calls? Eli, you know I barely figured out how to text. Why would I need—" "Just trust me. Can you do that?" "Of course, mijo, whatever you need." Her voice is soft with curiosity, but she doesn't push. She never does. After we hang up, I check my messages. Sophia sent a text an hour ago. "We're so proud of you, Eli. Looking forward to celebrating today." It's polite, carefully neutral, the kind of message that acknowledges the day without taking sides in the war brewing beneath the surface. Victor sent nothing. I grab my keys and head for the door, but pause at my small kitchen table where a photograph sits. Me and Grandma Ines from my high school graduation, both of us grinning like we'd conquered the world. She's wearing a bright yellow dress that probably cost $10 at Goodwill, and she looks more proud than any parent in designer clothes. That picture is going with me today. The university campus is already buzzing with activity when I arrive. Families stream toward the stadium carrying flowers and cameras. Graduates pose for photos with their mortar boards, and the air hums with excitement and nervous energy. I spot Mark near the entrance to the staging area, and he gives me a thumbs up that manages to be both encouraging and conspiratorial. "You sure about this?" he asks when I reach him. I pat my jacket pocket where the speech waits. I've never been more sure of anything in my life. In the distance, I can see Victor and Sophia making their way toward the VIP seating section. Victor looks every inch the successful corporate executive in his expensive suit, already networking with other parents, already playing the part of the proud father. The sight should make me nervous, but instead I feel something closer to determination. Today, everyone is going to know the truth about who really got me here. The podium feels both enormous and tiny as I step up to it, looking out over a sea of caps and gowns and thousands of expectant faces. The stadium is packed, families filling every seat, cameras flashing like stars in the afternoon sunlight. My hands are steady as I adjust the microphone, years of coffee shop shifts having taught me how to perform under pressure. "Good afternoon, graduates, families, and faculty," I begin, my voice carrying clearly across the stadium. 4 years ago, we walked onto this campus as freshmen, most of us terrified and all of us uncertain about what lay ahead. Polite laughter ripples through the crowd. In the VIP section, I can see Victor sitting rigidly, his jaw tight, but his expression carefully neutral. Sophia sits beside him, her hands folded in her lap. Today I want to talk about the people who helped us get here. The obvious choices are easy to name. Professors who challenged us, parents who supported us, friends who kept us sane during finals week. I pause, scanning the crowd. But I want to tell you about someone who won't be listed in any program today, someone who was deemed inappropriate for this ceremony. A shift in the audience's attention, curiosity replacing polite interest. Victor's face has gone pale. Her name is Eli Ramirez, and she's my grandmother. While some of your parents were helping with college applications, she was working double shifts at a factory to help pay for my textbooks. While others were attending school events, She was teaching me that dignity doesn't come from what you wear or where you live, but from how you treat people and whether you can sleep well knowing you've done right by those who love you. The crowd is completely silent now, hanging on every word. I can see Professor Westbrook in the faculty section, nodding encouragingly. Grandma Inez lives in a tiny apartment above a laundromat. She shops at thrift stores not because it's trendy, but because it's what she can afford. She speaks her mind, tells stories about our family's working-class past, and has never learned to apologize for who she is or where she comes from. My voice grows stronger, more certain, and some people think that makes her embarrassing. Victor starts to stand, but Sophia's hand on his arm stops him. The tension in the VIP section is visible even from here. The person who shaped me most isn't here today because she doesn't fit someone else's image of what this moment should look like, so I'm going to bring her here myself. I pull out my phone, heart pounding but hands steady. "Grandma, can you hear me?" The stadium's giant screens flicker to life as my video call connects, and suddenly Grandma Inez's face fills the displays. Beautiful, weathered, wearing that royal blue dress with tiny white flowers, her eyes wide with surprise and delight. "Mio? What? How am I on the big screen?" "Because you deserve to be here, Grandma, because none of this would have happened without you." The crowd erupts in applause, thousands of people rising to their feet for a 74-year-old woman in a $25 dress who's never asked for recognition but has earned every bit of it. The ceremony ends in a blur of applause and tossed caps, but I barely register the traditional celebration around me. My phone is still in my hand, Grandma Inez's face beaming from the screen as graduates and their families swarm the field with flowers and cameras. The energy feels electric, charged with something more than the usual graduation excitement. "Mijo, I can't believe what you just did," Grandma Inez says, her voice thick with emotion even through the phone's tiny speaker. "All those people clapping for me? I don't understand." "They were clapping because you deserved it," I tell her, finding a quieter spot near the edge of the field. "Because what you did for me matters, and everyone should know it." Mark appears at my elbow, grinning like he's just witnessed the greatest performance of his life. "Dude, you actually did it. You really did it." Half the audience was crying by the end. Around us, other graduates are approaching with shy smiles and congratulations. A woman about my age with her own family in tow stops to say, "That was beautiful. My grandmother raised me too, and she couldn't be here today either. Thank you for saying what we all felt." An older man in an expensive suit, someone's father probably, shakes my hand firmly. "That took guts, son, real guts." But not everyone's reaction is positive. Through the crowd, I catch sight of Victor stalking toward the parking lot, his face dark with fury, his usually perfect composure completely shattered. He doesn't look back. "Eli?" Sophia's voice is soft behind me. I turn to find my mother standing a few feet away, her expression caught between pride and worry. That was very brave." "But?" I ask, because I can hear the hesitation in her voice. "No buts." She steps closer, glancing over her shoulder toward where Victor disappeared. "I should have said something years ago, about a lot of things." Her voice drops to almost a whisper. "I'm proud of you for having the courage I didn't." Before I can respond, something tugs at my graduation gown. I look down to find Mateo beaming up at me, holding a folded piece of construction paper. "I drew this for you last night," he announces, pressing the paper into my hands. "I was going to give it to you at dinner, but this is better." I unfold the drawing to reveal two stick figures on a stage, one tall in a black cap and gown, one shorter in a blue dress covered with tiny flowers. Above them, written in careful 10-year-old letters, "Eli and Grandma Inez at graduation." "You drew this before you knew what was going to happen?" I ask. Mateo nods seriously. "I knew you'd figure out how to fix it. You always do." On my phone screen, Grandma Inez is wiping her eyes with a tissue. "Mijo, are you still there?" "I'm here, Grandma, and I'm coming to see you. We have a real celebration to plan." The sun is beginning to set over Seattle, painting the sky in shades of gold and pink. Around me, families are taking photos and making dinner plans, but all I can think about is getting to that little apartment above the laundromat, where the person who really made this day possible is waiting. The apartment above the laundromat has been transformed into something magical by the time I arrive. Strings of mismatched Christmas lights that Grandma Inez probably bought at a post-holiday clearance sale years ago twinkle across the ceiling, and the small table groans under the weight of homemade tamales, rice and beans, and a chocolate cake that clearly came from the grocery store bakery but has been decorated with hand-piped frosting that reads, "Congratulations, Eli," in wobbly blue letters. "Surprise!" Mateo shouts as I walk through the door, throwing his arms around my waist. "We made you a real graduation party." The "we" includes Mark, who's wearing a paper party hat and looks completely at home among the thrift store furniture, Mrs. Chen from downstairs who brought spring rolls, and 3 of Grandma Inez's neighbors from the building who I've known since childhood. It's not the elegant celebration Victor probably had in mind, but it's exactly what I need. Grandma Inez emerges from the kitchen carrying champagne flutes that definitely don't match, some crystal, some plastic, one that appears to be from a fast food restaurant, all filled with sparkling apple cider. She's still wearing the royal blue dress, but she's added a handmade corsage that looks suspiciously like it was crafted from silk flowers and safety pins. "There's my college graduate," she says, setting down the tray and pulling me into a hug that smells like vanilla extract and fabric softener. We hold each other for a long moment, no words needed. Everything that matters has already been said. "I can't believe you put me on television," she whispers against my shoulder. "I looked terrible. My hair was all wrong and I forgot to put on lipstick." "You looked perfect," I tell her, and I mean it. "You looked like exactly who you are." Mark raises his mismatched glass in a toast. "To the kind of family you choose and keep," he announces, and everyone joins in, even little Mateo standing on his tiptoes to clink his plastic cup against mine. "To my valedictorian of life," Grandma Inez adds, her eyes bright with tears and pride. Later, after the tamales have been devoured and Mateo has fallen asleep on the couch clutching his second piece of cake, I step onto the tiny balcony that overlooks the neighborhood. Seattle stretches out below me, the city lights beginning to twinkle in the gathering dusk. The sound glimmers in the distance, and somewhere out there, Victor is probably nursing his wounded pride at some upscale restaurant. But I'm exactly where I belong. Grandma Inez joins me on the balcony, handing me a cup of coffee in a mug that reads, "World's Okayest Student," a gag gift Mark brought her years ago that she's treasured ever since. "No regrets?" she asks quietly. I think about the question, about the choice I made today and all the ones that led up to it. About the 4 years of late-night shifts and ramen dinners, about Professor Westbrook's encouragement and Mark's loyalty, about Mateo's innocent faith that wrong things should be made right. "None," I say, and discover that I mean it completely. The lights of Seattle shimmer below us like promises, and I finally understand what Grandma Inez meant all those years ago when she told me that life is an adventure. You just have to be brave enough not to be afraid of who you really are. Up next, we have 2 more incredible stories that are waiting for you. Just click the image you want to watch, and it will take you there. If you enjoyed this video, make sure to subscribe. It would mean a lot.